sant yàlla.
looy xaar utal Wave nga scan nga fay te nag doo ci yokku dara.
Jar Oil, the company, have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
If you're an entrepreneur and your business is not yet registered, if you're looking to grow your registered business, or you're an accomplished professional, our Elevate program supports you with access to finance, access to markets, access to capacity building. Sign up now or refer a friend at ecobank.com/elevate. Elevate by EcoBank. A better way, a better Africa.
It's 5 minutes past 8 o'clock in the morning. Friday, the 14th of August 2026. You're with Coffee Time with Peter Gomez, live on radio for listeners in this country, FM 92.1, and our global audience are enjoying us at www.wcr.gm. Now, there are few institutions in an election year that attract as much attention, scrutiny, and sometimes suspicion as the Electoral Commission. And in recent weeks, the Independent Electoral Commission has been at the center of a particularly intense national conversation following the supplementary voter registration exercise. The numbers and the issues have generated questions. Multiple registrations, omissions from provisional voter lists, objections over the eligibility of some registrants, and concerns from political parties about the integrity of the process. The IEC has provided explanations, undertaken verification, and made adjustments. But for many Gambians, the fundamental question remains, is the electoral register clean, complete, and credible enough to carry the country into the December election with confidence? Well, we thought there was no better person to put those questions to than the man responsible for the institution conducting the election. Joseph or Joe Colley is chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, and he's here with us this morning. Joe, good to have you back. And you know, the staff was just observing that somehow we color-coded.
Color-coded, yeah.
If it was grey or ash, they would say we are both NPP. And if it was yellow, you know what they would say, we are both UDP.
Yes,
Does any of your registered parties go by this color?
What color is this?
Turquoise? Is it turquoise?
Yeah, turquoise, blue turquoise. I think it was used by SFL.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, yeah.
But I'm not SFL. Are you SFL?
No. Yeah. You know, he was independent in 2021. Now he's leader for APP Surveyor. Yeah.
As I said, good to have you back.
Thank you.
A lot happened during the registration process, the supplementary registration process. Let's begin there. How confident are you that the voter register will underpin the December election is going to be accurate, complete, and credible?
Thank you very much, Uncle Peter. I think, as I said, our motto at the IEC is fair play, integrity, transparency, but we've added compliance and inclusivity. If you could remember my first interview here, I told you at the launch of the calendar, it will be inclusive. So we've been doing that, and we've been having stakeholder meetings every month, and then we've been updating the stakeholders. Yes, the register as it is. You know, I always want to emphasize or to reiterate the fact that election is not an event. You know, it's a process. Yeah, because of course it culminates on, not even culminates, because like the high peak, you know, is on election day, and then announcement of results, and then acceptance of results and the like. Yes, the registration was held for 44 days, and the list was generated. And you know what people should understand is when we release figures, we say provisional until everything is finalized. As I'm talking to you now, the publications have been, we did the publication. There was an omission for 1 day, and that was why we extended. So, but you know, like for me, what people are talking about, you see, we're all guided by the law, the process. You know, there's a process guiding the registration, and then there is also a process guiding the publication of the list.
Oh, okay.
And then, you know, because if...
And then verification.
And verification. You know, like you have 10 days. 10 days and then 14 days to go. If definitely what people are saying that their names have been omitted, there was a window. You know, within those 14 days, go to our office and say that, like, look, my name is omitted, and then...
I haven't checked. I hope my name is omitted.
So that's the thing. You know, our people have been coming here. They've been going around, yes, you know, in all the country, telling people of the process. You know, like, we take the data or the figures from the field, and then when they come to database, we sort of put them in the data, and then we process them. So when we process them.
What does processing involve?
Processing is putting them in the data, because when they come from the field, they are encrypted. So the system now, we put it in the database to put them to sort of, like, for instance, all the details of the person, the pictures and the like. So after that, you know, there is a process called verification and adjudication. Mm-hmm. Now we do the, like, for instance, we match everybody against the register. So what happened? We had 962,000. 157. Yes. So what happened? Yes. So what happened is when we got this data of the registration, the supplementary, we match it, because it's a continuous. Because the register is valid for at least 10 years. So the 2021 is still valid. So what happened? We matched, and then we realized that some people who registered in 2021, instead of transferring or instead of replacing, they went and re-registered, as new registrants. So that was why when we matched...
So those who registered, yes, for the 2021 election, yes, their cards are valid also for the 2026 election. So they should not have gone for this. They should not have. Because this was a supplementary.
It was supplementary. And we explained. Supplementary, you know, is... When you supplement, it means you
add to, yes, additional to what we had in 2021.
So, and then we made it very clear that only people like those who are not 18, maybe those who are not
new voters,
those who are not in the country,
like the girls in
the stadium. Those who are not in the country, they are the ones eligible. But you go to the registration center, sometimes, you know, like, people will come and then they will swear that they've never got. And you know, when we did the matching, we realized that we had 24,000 records. But you see, that one involves about, it involves 344 people. So you understand? Mm-hmm. So, like, maybe some registered once, some registered twice, some have 3 records, some have 4 records. So if you add that, that will give you the number. And what we gave people was the provisional. In fact, what we did was because the replacements were done on the field. So it was all, because if you look at the machine, the printer, any transaction you make on the machine, it counts it, it records it. Oh. Even if you print for instance, if I print your card twice, mm-hmm, instead of one, it gives me. So those are the figures that we said, okay, we just take everything as provisional. Then after putting everything in the data, mm-hmm, then we realize. So when we did that, then we have this present figures. So that's what people are saying. But you told us this, But after you said, yes, the figure can never go beyond what we give you. It can only come down. And it may come down because right now, after the publication, people didn't come for appeal because, you see, it's a process. You know, if you say, because that's why I told you at the last stakeholders, if just tell me one person who registered and whose name is not on the list. Because
and nobody
else, because nobody came. Because the thing is, the law says that it's not only objection. You come if you register genuinely and your name is omitted, come and claim. We go to revising courts, and then if it's found out that it's true, we'll just put it. So it's not finished. But you see, people just started going to social media saying all kinds. I said, no, we are all guided. Section 25 of the Elections Act. That's why the other day I told them, look, we have laws. So let us go by the laws. We sort of study the law so that we are obey the law, so that, you know, like before we talk or before we make noise, we go by the law. Because all these things could go, I mean, they have remedies. Okay. So now we are at a stage wherein we have passed the publication, we have passed the appeals and the like. So it means that anybody, like those people who should have genuinely gone to the courts, you know, they have, like for appeals, whose names were omitted.
They've lost that opportunity?
No, they've lost that opportunity.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So you're working on a final voter
Yes, we are now working on, it's not yet final.
Okay.
We are working on the revising court. Now, the revising court, like, we have 1,694 objections. You see, like, some people were objected because they say they are underage. Some, they say because maybe they are not Gambians. So now the judiciary, we wrote to the Chief Justice, he's assigned magistrates. The first batch had a two-day refresher course, training, this week. So the next batch will next week, and then we will establish revising courts. Yeah, so
what's the purpose of the revising courts?
Yeah, the revising courts is like those who objected to, because like, if you object to a person and you give reasons, then you go to the court and then you establish, because now the proof is on you. Okay. The onus is on you to prove that, like, this guy, the person I objected to is an underage, he shouldn't have been on the register, or the person is not a Gambian, and then whatever the court decides, if the court says, okay, Mr. X, there is no proof that whatever is, the reasons that he was objected to is not proven beyond, you know. Like, so what we're going to do now is, like, the magistrate can say, retain his name, his or her name. If it's the other way around, the magistrate will say, okay, expunge the name, and then we expunge the name. It means that will be minus. Okay. So that is for 60 days. So after which, the magistrates will sign. So then we will put these two registers together. That's the 2021 and 2026. So as it is still not final. Okay. Until after the supplementary, I mean. Okay. Yes. But the other thing that I want to bring up is, like, some people, I don't know, one way or the other, instead of objecting to people who are registered in the supplementary, they objected to people who were registered in 2021. When that register is dust and all, you cannot do anything about that register. Okay. So that was why when we you know, in fact, we had a meeting before we expunged, like, you know, like, legally, if you look at Section 111 of the Elections Act, it says, like, if you do double registration, it's 2 years, 500,000, 2 years imprisonment, and then if you are found guilty, you are barred from elections for 10 years. That's about 2 elections. Yeah. So we thought, like, when we looked at the numbers, we called the political parties. At the time, you know, we had 22 then. Now we have 24, and maybe in the next two weeks or so, we may have an additional 2 because we are processing about 4 or so. So okay. Yeah. So at least 1 and 2 are almost there. So we may have 26 in the next 1 or 2 weeks coming. Yeah, so we had 22 then 15 of those parties came to the IEC, and then we had a meeting. We said, look, how can we go about these things? Because we have very little time. If you want to prosecute all these 14,344 people, it's going to take time. Maybe some of them registered twice because of technical fault, or you understand. So, and then we spoke, and then we spoke with them, and they say, okay, let's just delete one, and so as it is now, you cannot delete 2021. So you're only because 2021 is done and dusted. You cannot touch that one. So what we did was we just deleted the double registrations for those ones who registered in 2021 and 2026. So we just deleted 2026. Now for those who deleted, some people registered twice in 2026 also. Really? Yeah, for instance, in Manjai, and then you go to Bakote and register, it's twice. Maybe you register, you don't like your photo, and sometimes you cannot understand. And you know,
could that be a problem? That,
yes.
You didn't like your photo, you decided to go and have it done elsewhere.
So some people behave like that. Or sometimes, you know, I give you some things that we have realized, because like I don't know what happened. You know, like with these birth certificates and the like, you see one person, one. I don't know how that is, because you see one serial number of birth certificate for two people, or one, you know, like two people use almost the same serial birth certificate. Wow. So technically, if you do that, because like we use like fingerprints and then facial expression, or you see somebody will register here as Kadimani, go to LRR and say register as Maimuna. So we've seen cases like that. Because like in 2021, you register as Maimuna. In 2026, you register as Kadi. One person. How can you have two names? You know, because some people have, maybe they have nicknames. Like myself, a lot of people call me Joe. Because that's why when they say Joe Colley, I say, no, yes, Joe is informal, but my name is Joseph. Yes, and then like you go to Joshua, where I was born, or Talinding, my local native name is Kafu, and then you know my namesake is Sonko. So when you say Kafu Sonko, you know, like some people don't like. Who is Jokole? You know, like these elderly people, yes, when they say
Kafu Sonko.
Yes, so when they say Kafu, you know, when
it's
you say
like when I started using Peter for the first time, and people who knew me.
Yes. Yes.
Often they said to Pocha.
Yes.
So everybody.
Yes. So these are some of the things that we. So we definitely, what we told people is like we cannot because we're going to use like one register, and that register is for everybody. So we cannot willfully just go and start deleting people like that. And one thing I want to make clear is, if you look at the claimant form, when you come to register, there is nowhere that in the claimant form is stated that this person is from this party or is from that party. It's just Gambian and where you live.
So you cannot know who is
you
going to vote.
You cannot know
how.
who is. So deliberately we cannot just go and delete people from maybe an area, or you understand? Yeah. So discriminately, how will you know that? I mean, this person supports this person. So that's where we are. That's where we are. Yes.
So you identified 24,058 people with multiple registrations, but after verification and adjudication, that number came down to 14,000.
Yeah, it affected like 14,000 people.
Yes,
you understand?
334. It says you know from. So what happened to the other 9,724 cases? What were they? Were they false positives? Were they legitimate explanations, or what happened?
No, what happened? As I told you, what we did was even the replacements. Yes. We counted the replacements there, as part of the 212. The replacement, because the replacements were done at the registration center. So that gave us that number. Because the transfers, they will take the transfer, but the transfers were done at head office. That is from one polling station to the other.
Okay.
So the printers, they didn't.
Last year, I voted in Dipakunda because that's where I live. But now I live in Salaji. Obviously, I don't want to take the trouble of coming to vote in Dipakunda. So I transfer my vote to Salaji.
Yes, because what Salaji is on the
West Coast region.
But no, West Coast has 3 offices now.
Oh.
So you have Yarambamba election office.
Okay.
Yeah, we takes care of Ol Yundum, Sani Mentereng, Busumbala. So that's from the Yundums coming down, and then Kirsirin, this end, where the Salaji end.
Okay.
So you don't
so
have
Salaji
to,
would be on the
yeah. So you don't have to go to Brikama.
Okay.
Yes. In fact, this brings more because we've been calling people to come for their cards because we have a lot of them in the offices. So we've been calling people to come. So we're still appealing for them to come for their cards because if like the law in the country is even if you are registered, if you don't go with your voter's card, you cannot vote because we need to identify you. So I'm appealing that they come, they go for their card. Yeah, yes.
Okay, let's talk about the missing voters. I think you acknowledge that there were 3,713 people who were in the database, but were initially missing from the provisional lists.
No, that's the first day. That's the first day.
Yes.
Yeah, that's 3,718. 3,007. You know what happened?
3,718, not 3,713.
Yes, 718.
718.
That's the first day.
Okay,
that's the only 8. Yes. Yeah. So what happened? That was why we extended the days for. Because what happened was.
But how can such a discrepancy happen between the database and the list displayed?
No. It's not a discrepancy. What happened was when they were printing, they just queried. So instead of querying from the 8, they queried from the 9th. So they skipped 8. So that was why when it was.
Oh, so all that 3718 was from day 1.
Day 1 on the 8th.
Skipped.
On the 8th, yes.
Okay.
So it's countrywide.
Okay.
So 99. You
and
remember?
Therefore,
yes, 99. You know that from 99 machines because the machine in at Olyundum. In fact, we dealt with that because erroneously it was set for 8, instead of 8 April, that machine was set
for the 9th of
for August, 8 August.
Oh dear.
So that was part of the double registration. So that is why, like 252 people were already registered, with that machine. So you see, that's why, like the 3718, the records are for 99 machines, not that, those people who registered on that day, they had to be recalled to do their registrations again. And
did they come?
They come. Yeah.
All
so
of
we
them?
have all of them.
All of
That's sorted. And then that was the first 2 weeks we explained that. So this is it, 3718. It's the first day. So that is why, like, if you have 44, and then you do 43, then like the process is not complete. So that is why. And then Section 22(5) of the Elections Act says you republish. So that is why, like when we printed the first day, then making the register, the supplementary register whole. That is why we extended for 7 days because it says you republish. So if you republish, you start counting. So that's why the objections would have ended on 28th. So we pushed it to 27th because it was like on the 13th. We 12-13, that was when we realized that the 148 was missing. So that's why we extended 13 to 27. Now they had the complete 14 days for publication and objections.
Okay.
Yes.
There have also been allegations of non-Gambians being registered. So the question is, what mechanism did the IEC use to establish that an applicant is a genuinely eligible Gambian?
You see, Uncle P, people should understand. You see, politicians, they know exactly what the problem is. When we in '96, when we started from PIEC, we used to interview. Even if you come with an ID card, passport, the IEC was given powers to. If you look at the elections decree then, the interview was part of it. So in 2021, you know, there was a general registration. And then Parliament went and just changed.
The interview bit
they removed they removed the interview. And then, you see, we have to be very careful because it is like, if you look at section 12, so that's why I say, like, people have to be